Welcome back to The Miracle Within You. Today, I'm talking with Bill Zujewski about his great book, app, and concept of the life score, which looks at 8 key areas of your life and gets you to constantly review and rate how you're doing, which I think is a great tool to keep you mindful of all the critical areas of life. So, one thing that's interesting, Bill, in your career, you were 20 plus years as a corporate executive and then switched to being an entrepreneur. What prompted that?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And by the way, it's never too late. So I'm in my 50s and was on that, hamster wheel of hitting the weekly, quarterly revenue numbers, number of leads. So I ran marketing organizations and grinded and grinded. But at some point that became, arduous, repetitive. I wasn't growing. I wasn't giving enough back. And I I came across, I had dinner. Actually, I was investing in a relationship. I have an annual dinner with a good friend of mine who we worked together 20 plus years ago. And around the holidays, we always have dinner together. And he was telling me what he was doing around this Green Business Bureau company that he's launching, and he needed help marketing and he was probing, giving me, asking me for suggestions. I'm like, oh my God, I'm really interested in this. My kids are amazingly passionate about sustainability and no plastic and where the climate change and where the world is going. There's something to this. So that's when I convinced him and convinced myself to, be the third employee at this small company and see if we could build something. And we did, and we ended up certifying thousands of companies, getting them to commit to being green businesses. And when we were raising money to grow the company, someone was interested in acquiring us and who could grow it faster. And so we kind of exited it and passed it to someone else who had more capital to continue it on. And then I'm like, well, do I retire now? I'm like, I could, but I wasn't interested at all. And this is where kind of I would say the miracle within you. I kind of self-discover that it's not too late, even in your 50s or 60s, to pivot your life and do something new and grow. I mean, look at us. Our current president, our last president are 80. Warren Buffett's in his 90s. So I'm like, oh, geez, I still got 20, 30 good years in me. I don't want to just sit and golf and, and do leisure or all that. I've been fortunate. I want to give back. So there was a part of me that said it's time to give back in a bigger way. And I am enjoying the challenges of entrepreneurship. And I'm working with young people that energize me. So it's worked out great. For
Yeah.
me, it's been a great transition from, my stage one of my, career to this new stage of entrepreneurship.
And that does raise an interesting question about the value of the good life concept actually across ages. I
Hmm.
think it would be valuable, obviously, for young adults starting out to make sure they don't get too carried away only on career and focus on other things, but also later in life. I
Hmm.
don't like the word retirement. I don't think you should base your life on something you're not doing, i.e., going to work on a regular basis.
Right.
And it's a big problem for a lot of people.
I
And
agree. I don't know how many friends I have who retired early and they're miserable. Like a lot of their connection was to their career or the relationships they had. They had not built other relationships outside of work, so now they lost those relationships. So there's nothing wrong with retirement, believe me. Someday I'll decide to spend half my time doing nothing. But for me, maybe it's type A personality. I find it invigorating to wake up and having something to do each day, grow this company. I love learning. I mean, if hopefully your parents or your teachers instill a lifelong learner mentality in you. I just love consuming new information every day. So some of this is just creating the right mindsets, a growth mindset, purpose mindset, so that you still have a purpose, in your later years.
Yep. Yeah, and I do see that as a problem. I've seen people in my clinical practice. One guy was had a very significant corporate job and then retired. Came here. We're a golfing community. He played golf, and he came to see me after 6 months and said, "I think I'm losing it cognitively."
Right, right. Another good
And
piece to keep going. Yes.
yeah, yeah, and no, nothing wrong with you. The problem is you're not using your brain like you used to. Okay,
Right,
now you've got to find a way of challenging yourself in a different way other than a work situation.
right, right. I know there's this stigma that the older people are, thinking about retirement and not committed to their job, or are losing their memory, but the wisdom we have, the experience we have, I mean, that all offsets all those things. I mean, the value, I just think about what I'm doing now with what I did with Green Business Bureau. I've got another company, Momentix, that allows you to save your digital ticket stubs and share events with your friends. And then I got this company, GoodLiife. It does keep you kind of sharp, motivated,
Yeah,
for sure.
no question about that. And that's a big transition. And you want to be. That's the time in life where you really want to establish the meaning of it,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
I could tell you this because I know, Howard, you're a big believer too in the power of the mind. I had this health scare back in 2011 with my father died early of an aorta aneurysm, and they did some tests, and the doctor's like, good news, your heart and aorta, everything's fine, but you have a blockage in your bladder. And so I went in for more tests, and you have some kidney damage. So I had to have this surgery, and oh my God, it scared the hell out of me, right? I started feeling numbness in my face, and just having headaches. And I was like, oh my God, am I physically dying? And what I've realized was it was the anxiety that was actually having such an impact on my physical body. And that holds true with, when you have no purpose or no reason to get up. Some of that turns into depression or anxiety. And so without having that, healthy whole life in all these areas, you start to damage kind of your mental fitness. A
Hmm.
huge believer that it's all connected.
No, yeah, no question. That's tied into energy. With the wrong energy or no energy, you're going down a rabbit hole, really, which can influence everything in your life. So very important to keep on top. So, I had this insight as you were talking about how the good life works in different ways, perhaps at different stages of life. Um,
Right,
you know,
right, right. Yeah, no, it's no question. So like the health all of a sudden, obviously, although the young generation cares about health, most of that is driven by probably your parents, right? But as you get older, you realize, geez, none of the other things I'm doing matter if I'm not healthy, right? So, and what you were able to get away with when you were younger, you just couldn't get away with now. So I found that I started getting cramps, and I realized I wasn't drinking enough water, simple things like that.
hmm
And I was getting back sore pains. And I realized I wasn't stretching, right? So there are things that I ask you what your health score is, because health and is super important, especially to as you get as you get older. Um, so that's why I think that again, it comes back to your, just being aware of what you should be doing around each of these eight categories. It's helpful to reflect on those.
Yeah, and the score also allows you to look back because it's easy to forget these things. The
Yeah.
score allows you to look back and say, oh, a year ago or 2 years ago, in March, I rated myself a 5 on whatever scale, and oh, look, I'm a 7 or an 8 now. I
Yeah.
think that helps you.
Now what's really interesting for the entrepreneurs and the listeners, for small business owners, you kind of have to identify your target market, right? Who your user is. And when I created the concept at first, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to individuals. Here's a great way to score yourself. What I'm finding actually is a sweeter target market is actually life coaches and therapists and wealth managers who have clients who they're trying to coach and help with their lives. And that this is a great way to kind of help them think about all these areas and do an assessment. And then when they do that, coffee to kick off a engagement, so to speak, going through their scores of where they're low and where they're high. Hey, I got a 6 in leisure. How do we get that to a 10 by the end of the year? All of a sudden, something that is, qualitative kind of, let's get healthier, have more fun in our lives, all of a sudden becomes quantitative, and you can actually set goals for your score and how to improve those scores, like improving your report card. How do I get
Right.
you from a C to a B to an A by the end of the year? So
Hmm.
it's actually becoming almost a lingo between coaches and their clients as a way to actually hold their clients accountable. And now I actually have a company who's interested in rolling it out to their employees. They want to create the head of people there wants to create a healthy, balanced work culture. And they want every employee to download the app to,
Oh, that's great.
I mean, to create a culture that we believe everyone should be leading a healthy, balanced life.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, no, that's really awesome, and it makes sense. And one of the things too is because professions are very uh, sectionalized. If you go to a doctor, they're only going to be talking to you about your health,
right,
right? If
right,
you go to a financial planner, they're only going to be talking to you about your wealth, right?
right, right,
Um, you know,
right,
you need really this overall global picture of yourself
right, right.
that's going to give it real perspective rather than just specializing in one thing. So I definitely see the value for coaches and people in the self-help field to get people to take an overall view of
Yeah,
where
no,
they're at.
another surprise. You just don't never know where your app and your business will take you. I have a wealth manager friend who realized that when he sits down at dinner with these couples that are planning their retirement, that it's just not about wealth. It's like, what do they want to do in the next 30 years? Do they want to get involved in causes and charities? Do they want to travel around the Asia Pacific and go to Bora Bora, New Zealand, and see the world? Do they want to commit and live next to their grandkids? So what starts off as a focus around wealth quickly turns into a conversation just about their overall life goals. And wealth is related to that. So he's actually, even though he's a wealth manager, becoming somewhat indirectly a life coach and using the app for his clients to kind of prioritize, where they are and on how they want to use their wealth in these other areas.
Yeah, that's great. I could see human resources being interested in this for creating the right culture for their employees too. I mean, it's perfect.
Agreed. Yeah, the
Perfect.
ROI is a no-brainer.
Hmm.
Burnt out employees are just not as productive. They're gonna leave the company. So a happy employee is a kind of a great employee, right? So I think it's important there too.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's recap where people can find the app, talk about the app, and then briefly about the book.
Yeah, yeah. So let's start. The best place to always start is goodlife.com. So with two I's. So good, LIIFE.com. There you can, there's a tab to go to the book. You can buy it on Amazon. Um, Zujewski is a pretty unique name, Zujewski. You just type that in Amazon Kindle, and I'm the only author that, and this book will pop up for there. And then if you go to the website, there's instructions on how to download the app for individuals for at least the next 6 months. I'm making it free. I just want to, it's my way of giving it back. If you're a life coach or a company, there's some fees you pay for the subscription. You could even start in the Apple App Store. So again, if you go to your phone, search the Apple App Store for the Good Life Score, you'll find the mobile app. You can download the app literally within a minute, fill out the 11 questions and see what your Zen score is,
Mhm.
or take 15 minutes and see what your life score is. So if you're curious to see if you're living a fulfilling, balanced, healthy, life, it's free. Download the app and see what your score is.
Yeah, can't be any better than that, folks. Yeah,
Yeah.
really, really good. And I would encourage you all to check it out. As Bill said, it's free. I think it's a good, well, more than good. I think it's a great tool and a great way of keeping track on score of your life because I know way too many people who haven't done that and then look back 10, 15 years later, they've lost contact with their family, they don't have many good relationships. They're in the wrong job, you name it. So this is a great, great way of optimizing your life. Let's put it that way.
And
So
designing the life you want.
there you go. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Bill. Great to have you on the show and good luck with that app and book and corporation and wherever it goes next.
Thanks, thanks. Yeah, I'll close with my mantra. My goal is to help people get good at life, and hopefully, between the book and the app, they can get good at life.
Absolutely.